Hi, this is Kevin Flerlage. Today I'm going to talk about using PowerPoint in conjunction with Tableau to give a little extra pop to your visualizations. I was lucky enough to get introduced to using PowerPoint for images early on. Ken Flerlage showed me how to do that and how easy it really was, and he actually referred me to Josh Tapley's blog post that talks about this as well. My hope today is just to build upon that, kind of show you some of the things that are possible and some of the things that I use in my visualization. So we're going to try and do the Andy Kriebel thing and do this in one take with no editing. So let's get right to it. Alright, the first thing I do is use titles with my images for my titles. So there are only a fair number of web-safe fonts. Jeff Schaefer's blog post talks a bit about this, and what we try to avoid is using fonts that may not come out that same way on the other side. So you might use a custom font and somebody else is just seeing it as a standard font. So we want to avoid that, and how we can do that is turning our fonts into images. So for this arachnophobia viz, I wanted something that just felt kind of icky. So I actually went out, just did a Google search for scratchy fonts. And when I did that, what I landed on was this gasoline scratchy font. You can kind of see it just kind of has this itchy feel to it. So I downloaded that, install it. All you have to do is download it. You pull up the true font file type, click install, and it'll be installed on your computer. If you're in PowerPoint, you may have to close PowerPoint and bring it back up. And then how we create a title with that is we just go to insert a text box, create that text box, and black background is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to change this to a brown, and we're going to type arachnophobia. I'll make this a little bit larger so we can see, and I'm going to change it to this font that I downloaded called Gasoline Scratchy. Let's make it a little bit larger. Right, you can see it's kind of got that kind of scratchy feel to it. So we have this typed out. All we do is choose this outside border here, right click it, save as picture, and we're going to save that as title here. And then I'm going to use, in this demonstration, I'm going to use a little bit of a tool called Paint.net. It's just a simple photo editing package. You can use it for you can use a bunch of different ones. A lot of people use GIMP as well, GIMP. I prefer Paint.net. It's a free download. So if we come in here and open this file, one thing you'll notice that when you do this, it kind of creates this big border around it. But if you're using Paint.net, it's really simple tools here. You got a crop tool right here. We can crop this out. This little icon here is crop to selection. We hit that, it'll crop to that selection. We save that, and then we can bring that into Tableau as an image versus bringing it in as text. So really cool way to get some cool fonts that are going to look the same way. You're going to have that same experience when your users or your readers are viewing it. Alright, crop to shape. So this is something that I particularly find hard in other image editing tools. And so I'm just going to kind of show you how we can crop to a circle. You'll see in this visualization I have these pictures that were cropped to circles, and it's really easy to do in PowerPoint. So let's go first, and we're going to insert a picture. I found this picture here. And typically you should really only be doing this with ones that are labeled for reuse if you find them on the internet. So I have this picture, and if I use this in the visualization, it's just kind of clunky. It's got that rectangular, really sharp edges, and I prefer not to do that. So if we click on this picture, you'll see this format tools come up, and if you come over here to crop, if you want to crop the circle, the first thing you want to do is change the aspect ratio to 1:1. We do that, and you see it puts this little square box in here. One little trick is if I try and move this around, it's going to move outside of this box. But if I hit shift, no matter how I do it, it kind of stays in that, it kind of snapped to that grid. So we get it where we want, and then we come up here again and go to crop to shape, and we choose circle. We're going to create this nice little circle, kind of like what you see over here. Now, one of the things I like to do is give it a little border, and that's really simple as well. Just come up to insert shapes. The shift key works really good with circles, because if I don't hit the shift, I can draw ellipses and things like that. Well, I want a circle here. So I hit shift, you'll see it kind of snap into again, an aspect ratio of 1:1. I'm going to come up here to shape fill, maybe turn it to yellow. I almost always get rid of the outlines. And then we can drag this guy on top. And just like in Tableau, there's a floating order. So if we right click on this, let's try that again. And we're going to bring that to the front. And the great thing about PowerPoint is that things snap into place. So you can see this as I'm going, it's kind of got this centered, and it just snaps right into the center. So what we can do, and I think I might have moved it a little bit, what we can do now is grab this entire selection. So this is very key that you grab all the different parts of your image. You select it all, you right click on that, group them, and then what you can do is, just like we did before, come save this as an image. And then you can bring that into your visualization. One key note is anything, you see the square that's selected, but anything back here is naturally transparent. So you'll only see when you bring this into your visualization just the circle border and the image. All right, callouts. If you read my blog post, this is really kind of where I first learned about PowerPoint being used for images, and that's used in callouts. And when I say a callout, I mean you see sort of circular images that have some text and maybe a big number in there that calls out some specific data. And so I'm just going to quickly show that with text. Now, one thing to note with the big numbers, you could build that in Tableau so it's dynamic and it changes. I'm just going to show it with text. So this is really simple to do, and it's just a couple of shapes. So again, we're going to grab that circle shape. I'm going to create a big circle here, and I'm just going to copy it, paste it. I am going to fill it with black and get rid of the outline. Then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So one thing, if you're doing callouts and you want it to, you'll often want that center to match the background. You could use a transparent color in here if you wanted. I just usually try and get it to match the background. So when you have this nice callout here, this nice shape, and then all we have to do is enter some text in here. And I'm not going to go nuts with this, but I did something wrong here. So let's make this white so we can see it. And we put 99.9%. Center that, maybe make it a little bit bigger. And then we can do another text box with some smaller text of that white, center that, and we have this nice, and we can clean this up a little bit. We have this nice call out. Again, what we can do it this way instead. Grab everything. You have two text boxes, two circles. Grab that, group it, and then right click and save as picture, and you can bring that into your visualization. Again, like I said, you could create this in Tableau so it's more of a dynamic number, but for this exercise, we'll just show how to do that. All right, custom shapes. So one thing that I love to do is use custom shapes. I think people have probably done that in the past, but saving into your Tableau repository and using it in a dual axis chart or something like that. In this particular Mario Brothers viz, all my charts are using custom shapes. These are all charts here. There's a dual axis with a custom shape on top. So I just kind of want to show you real quickly how we do that. So I found this image on the internet, and even though I've got this crazy background, you can see that the background of this is not transparent, and what I want to do is make that transparent. So in this case, there are ways to do transparency within PowerPoint. And I know Josh Tapley talks specifically about that. I particularly like to do it in the photo editing software. It's really simple to do. So let's open it here. Open it. And you'll see we have this blue background, and it's not really going to work very well if I have this blue background. I want to put these coins right next to each other. So you can do this very easily in Paint.net by coming over here and picking the magic wand. When we pick the magic wand, you'll see tolerance come up here, but and you can affect that But really all you need to do is pick the color you want to make transparent. You'll see it's selected, and you can see that the coin's not selected. And if you hit the delete key, it will make that background transparent. This checkerboard look means it's transparent. Now, you could move up the tolerancy or move down the tolerancy. If you move it too far down, or excuse me, too far up, it will select everything. It's not differentiating the colors very well. So if you have some colors that are close to each other, you can tweak the tolerance to allow it to get a better grab of what color you actually want to make transparent. Then you can just save that in your Tableau repository, your shapes repository, and then you can bring that in as a custom shape in Tableau. All right. Drawing custom shapes. This is probably my favorite thing to do with PowerPoint. I love to use icons from the Noun project, which I pay for an annual subscription for because it's so powerful. And I love to find Google images that are labeled for reuse, but oftentimes you just can't find that. So what I end up doing is drawing them myself. And it's really cool, all the different things you can actually draw in PowerPoint if you just kind of stop and think about it. So this Candyland board, I drew a couple different things in here, and I'll show you some other examples after this, but the little instruction book and the Candyland cards, I'm going to show you quickly how we draw those. So I'm going to go to Shapes and pick the rectangle. And I'm going to draw the Candyland card real quick. Hopefully everybody's familiar with the game. I'm going to get rid of the outline, and I'm going to fill it with white. So we're starting to look like a card here. And now we're going to insert another rectangle, but this time I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to drag that out, and it's going to give me a nice perfect square. Again, I'm going to get rid of that outline. Let's turn this maybe green. I'm going to plop that right on top of the card, and you can see how it snaps right in there really nicely. I'm going to just copy that green, drag it down again, and we could tweak this and make it perfect, but all of a sudden you see we have a double green Candyland card. Okay, and then what we could do is save that as an image, and then we come in and we change these colors, and we save that as an image, and we can make all these cards really quickly. Obviously not all of them are just doubles, so you have a single Candyland card right there. Alright, now I'm going to show you how we create those instructions. Again, we're going to start off with a white rectangle. This time I am going to leave it a little bit of an outline, but the shape fills is still going to be white. I'm going to copy this, paste it, and then I'm going to kind of, you can see right here, you got this little option to rotate. So we rotate that, kind of move it over here. You can see I got what looks like two pieces of paper folded on top of each other like a little instruction booklet. All I did to create this is just insert an image and some text, and all of a sudden I have a really cool little instruction booklet. When you hover over it, it gives you the instructions. I also did that same thing with my recent Viz Blossoming Countries. I thought it'd be cool to have this little Post-it note look, and I actually searched the internet for some free to reuse Post-it notes and couldn't find any, oddly enough. I couldn't believe that. So I just did a square, just like before. Got rid of the outline, filled it with this sort of tan color. It doesn't really matter what it is. I rotated it slightly, went to Shape Effects, found Shadow, found a shadow that I liked. You could use whatever you wanted. That's probably not perfect. Let's find shadow. Maybe something more like this. And then added that to my visualization. The one nice thing is with this, you can also edit the shadows to get the different pieces and effects as much as you want. You go to shadow options, and you can tweak around with how large the shadow is, what kind of angle it's at, all different things. So, and then again, just brought that in as an image, saved that as an image, brought that into Tableau. Lots of different things that I've done with custom shapes. My Candyland Viz again, I couldn't find a sugar jar that I liked. I found one that looked like it was a real picture of a sugar jar, but wouldn't really work for my visualization, so I just drew it. Couple of concentric circles with a rounded rectangle. I did bring it into paint.net and trim up the edges a little bit, but it turned out to have a really nice, cool-looking sugar jar. in my water world viz for the iron viz feeder for water. I created these little waves in PowerPoint. Really easy. There's just a little wave kind of shape you can use. For the haunted places viz, I created a button in PowerPoint, just kind of a rounded rectangle. Recent Makeover Monday viz, I created this little ribbon for diversity in tech, just a ribbon, and really it's just a couple of different rectangles put next to each other, and then a couple of right triangles kind of selected next to each other, and it made this nice little ribbon. And then if you were at the Tableau conference, I competed in a tip battle. I didn't win, got to the finals though, and in the finals I created a pumpkin in PowerPoint. So this entire pumpkin, with the exception of the chart at the mouth, is a little frequency chart here. The entire pumpkin was drawn in PowerPoint. So lots of different things you can do with PowerPoint. All right, and the 1 month after starting with Tableau, I created a viz called the African Water Crisis. That African Water Crisis had a technique in it that I learned from Simon Beaumont that what I call a filled shape chart. So basically it's a bar chart. It could be many other charts. It could be a pie chart or something like that, but it's a bar chart with a transparent image floating on top of it to give it a nice effect. And you'll see here where I show just a couple of different bar charts here, and it's a little bit small, and I changed it to have this nice effect where I floated a transparent shapes of over top of these, and then same thing with this. So I'm just going to quickly show how to do that. This is on my blog, but I do want to show you how to do that. I'm going to get rid of this for now, and I'm going to bring in an image here, and we got this image of a guy. So I'm going to do this chart down here. We got an image of this guy here, and you can see it's certainly not transparent. It's just a gray image of a picture of a man. So what we can do is bring this into paint.net. We'll use our little magic wand like we did before. Click down in that outside. We'll hit delete. And you can see my tolerance is set a little too high. So let's try that again. We'll escape here. Hit delete. Excuse me. We're going to do that for the inside as well. And let's save this one as man. Okay. Now if we bring this into PowerPoint, what we'll see is a man that's transparent. Now if I float this over here, what you'll see is the inside of it's transparent. The outside of it's transparent as well. We do not want that. So when we're making a filled shape chart, what we want is the inside of this to be transparent, the outside of it to be opaque, because we want, if we look at this closely, what we want is the blue area around the, we don't want the bar chart to show through that area outside of the man. So what we want to make it is opaque and make it the same color background as our dashboard. So I've already done that. All I did was come in here and fill this color. You can do a fill with this little paint bucket. Everybody's probably familiar with that, but you just got to match that color up. Excuse me. So I've already done that. So let me just show you what we've done here. So we have this guy here, and if you see the background, background is blue and it's opaque, and the center of the guy is transparent. So if we want to create these 10 guys, all we have to do is make a bunch of copies. So let's just hit Control-C and Control-V, and we'll make a copy. And you see how PowerPoint is so good at just snapping things into place. Now I'm going to copy them both and paste them both. And we'll snap that right in. All right. We'll copy those again, paste those. So now we have 8 guys. Let's copy the last 2. And that snapped into place. So now we have this one big image that we can float right on top of a bar chart, and we can get a nice filled shape chart. Now one key is, I've seen other people write about this, we don't advise that you ever cut off an arm or have half a guy. If you're going to do this type of chart, it's typically recommended that you do a full round to the nearest 10%. Now if you were to do something that's not male-female type chart, if you want to just fill a test tube, for example, like I did in this particular one, you could have it at any raw percentage. It doesn't have to be rounded. So, All right, utilizing icons. I mentioned the noun project before. Here's a visualization. I know it's using some donut charts, and oftentimes not the most preferred chart type. I used it here just to show some statistics, and it's only 2 different parts of that pie, so not overly hard to understand, and I do have the text to go along with it. Just kind of a nice visual. And I like to do, if I do a donut chart, I do like to use icons. I use icons throughout my visualizations, but I'm just going to quickly show you how I created this particular one. So I went to the noun project. You can use this free of use, so you just have to give attribution to the creator. It's only, I think, $40 a year to subscribe. I would greatly recommend it. And if I search for, say, pharmaceuticals, used to be the industry that I was in, you find all kinds of photos and icons of pharmaceuticals. I mean, hundreds. I think there's a million icons on here. So you can pretty much find anything you want. So I went ahead and downloaded one that I liked, and I used it in this visualization. Just a little image of a pharmaceutical. Excuse me. So you can see it's got a transparent background naturally, so that's really nice. So how I create this little icon to go in the center of the donut is really simple. We'll just bring in a shape just like before. I'll hold that shift key to get that aspect ratio 1:1. We'll remove that outline again. We'll fill it with white. We'll change the floating order here to bring it to the front. Make this a little larger. All right, snap it in there, and then we can grab this whole thing, group it, save as a picture, and we have a nice icon that we can use. And this doesn't have to be used in a donut chart. It can be used in a million different ways. So lots of cool little things that you can add flair to using icons. And that's about it. There are many different things that you can do with PowerPoint. You can draw images, icons. My favorite thing is the titles, but you can do so many different things. I use it for almost every for every Tableau dashboard I create, especially for Tableau Public, but also in a professional environment. So I greatly recommend you using it. It's not hard to use. Pretty much everybody has some understanding of PowerPoint. And a lot of people don't have any understanding of Photoshop or some of those other intense tools. So I greatly welcome you to try using it. If you ever have any questions for me, you can always reach out to me on Twitter or through my website. Thanks a lot.